The World MMA Championships is an amateur competition hosted by the European governing bodies of MMA. The prestigious tournament has seen the likes of Sedna Magomedov and Magomed Ankalaev compete since they began in 2013. However, to this day, the youngest champion goes by one name, Shavkat Rakhmonov. At only 18, a young boy who loaded ships at his local fish market would try out for the World MMA Championships. 60 seconds into his first qualifying match, it was over, having secured a deep armbar. After 3 more swift victories, he would find himself in the final against Uzbekistan's Mirzav Davlatov. The bright lights in St. Petersburg would set the stage for Shavkat Rakhmonov to become the youngest champion in the tournament's history. After warming up in the first round, Rakhmonov turned up the pace in the second and with suffocating top control, ended the fight in a minute. Rakhmonov was no longer a hidden gem, and his success would see him invited to the World MMA Asian Championships the following year, entering straight into the final, which he would win in 45 seconds with ground and pound. Shavkat would go on to compete in the following year's World MMA Championships, and after losing a decision to Russian prospect Gadzimirad Kiramagomedov, he would make his professional MMA debut. Due to his success as an amateur, Rakhmonov was signed by established Russian promotion M1 Global, facing fellow 19-year-old Adam Tasurov. The fight wouldn't make it out of the first, with Shavkat sinking in a tight arm triangle. The Kazakhstani prospect would move from strength to strength, earning the award of the Master of Sports in Combat Sambo and MMA by the Soviet Union. Following finish after finish as a professional, Rakhmonov would take a risk, rejoining the amateurs to avenge his only loss against Russia's Gadzimirad in his 3rd consecutive World MMA Championships final. Shavkat had improved, but not enough, with Gadzimirad using his grappling to secure a narrow victory. After failing to avenge the loss, Shavkat turned his focus back to his pro career where he remained undefeated, with his eyes set on the M1 title. Rakhmonov would go on a tear, finishing all 6 of his next opponents. If you wanted to stand and trade, Rakhmonov would beat you there. If you wanted to take things to the ground, Rakhmonov would beat you there. With M1's welterweight champion Alexei Kunchenko leaving for the UFC in 2018, the Russian promotion knew who would compete for the vacant belt. Rakhmonov would face Danil Prikaza, a Russian master of sports in MMA who was riding a 4-fight winning streak with M1 going into this fight. With 5 rounds to work, Rakhmonov kept the fight standing, using his reach to patiently chip away at Prikaza. Rakhmonov would open the second with some big shots before bringing the fight to the ground. Shavkat would posture up and begin damaging Prikaza, ending the fight halfway into the second, becoming the 2nd M1 champion representing Kazakhstan. After a successful defense against Thiago Varejo, the UFC would come calling. Shavkat entered the UFC as an undefeated champion with a 100% finish record, despite being only 25 years old. The matchmakers were keen to test Rakhmonov early, lining him up to face veteran Cowboy Oliveira, who was coming off 2 wins. Rakhmonov came out looking relaxed, standing at range looking for his openings, managing to land an effective knee against Cowboy. From the clinch, Cowboy would drop down to try and force the takedown, which is a big mistake against Shavkat, who instantly found his signature guillotine choke, finishing the fight. 8 months after his convincing debut, he would be handed another UFC veteran in Michael Prazeres, who was 10-3 with the UFC. Rakhmonov would use his jab to keep the significantly shorter Prazeres at bay as he attempted to explode forward and close the distance. The clinch would provide the space to ground Prazeres, landing some calculated ground and pound before the Brazilian found the room to scramble to his feet. Rakhmonov would open the second with a beautiful spinning heel kick followed by a firm knee to the body, which Prazeres would use to bring the fight down. Shavkat would find himself on top, loosening up Michel with some ground and pound, before wrapping things up with a rear naked choke. Rakhmonov will face Carlston Harris in his next UFC bout, who has also made a quick start in the UFC, finishing his first 2 fights in the first round. At only 27, Shavkat has 10 years of competitive MMA experience. He is also a physical specimen, giving himself a distinct advantage in the striking and the grappling due to his height and strength. Despite being a lifelong welterweight, I think many wouldn't be surprised to see the Kazakhstani end up at middleweight during his career. Let me know what you think of Rakhmonov. This guy still doesn't even have a Wikipedia, so piecing together his career took time. If you enjoyed the video, please like, as it's the best way to support me and it helps me more than you realize. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Haydi.